If hospitals are considered the front line of the pandemic,
We set up the casket right over there, the flowers on each side.
then funeral homes would be the last line.
This is where the families will gather, where they share stories, where they laugh, and where they cry.
Tiffany Simmons is the general manager at Lake Lawn Metairie Funeral Home. In the past year, as the world shifted to social distancing, Zoom meetings, and grocery delivery, Simmons and her team of so-called death care workers braced themselves for COVID's seemingly unrelenting cruelty.
It's monumental. It's unprecedented. I don't think that I could ever have been educated and or trained anyone for what we've endured the last 12 months, but it's the most humbling time.
Lake Lawn handled its first COVID-related funeral in mid-March of last year. In the weeks and months that followed, Simmons says the number of those funerals exploded to a point where they just stopped counting. She says if she had to estimate, it would be around 500 since last year.
But I think just when we got into the pandemic, I think the first few months, it was something that we monitored on a regular basis. And then when the pandemic wasn't going away and we got 6, 7, 8 months in, we just said, this is the new norm and we can't monitor this anymore. We have to leave that to the hospitals and to the state.
Dominic Moncada supervises Lake Lawn's unit that goes into homes, hospitals, and nursing facilities. They retrieve those who have died. They'll then prepare the body for the final viewing. In the first surge of COVID cases and deaths, Moncada says there was uncertainty.
It was scary at first. There was a lot of like, what do we do?
But they then established protocols with personal protective equipment, disinfectant, and whatever is needed to treat an already heartbreaking situation with safety, but also dignity.
We were sending people that would normally be a one-person call, as we say. We were sending 2 technicians so they would help support each other. It was the little things just to make this easier and to better serve our families as well, because they're the ones going in, and I think these families were really grieving hard because about something that they didn't know about either, what was COVID then.
As the pandemic persisted, it personally hit some of the death care workers.
Say by the summertime, there was a handful of us back there that knew people that were passing, that were in our care. Neighbors, someone's mom, someone's cousin, just family friend. You know how tight it is in New Orleans, how we are.
We had one employee that lost 2 family members from COVID, and still they came back to work right away because they said there's families that are just like mine that need to grieve, and I need to be here to help that happen.
That's a heavy load.
It is.
Sure.
In the years since the pandemic began, we've gotten glimpses of the strain and stress in trying to save lives. But what about the toll of seeing a constant amount of loss, even if it's part of the job?
Did death care workers face stress levels that were comparable to healthcare workers?
I'm sure they have. I'm sure we all have, but I think we're silent about it right now. Or I think we've just learned to adapt, and I think we've relied on each other. I think that we realized that as hard of a day as we were having, these families are having a much harder day. We have a company that's done a lot for us as far as providing assistance with employees if we needed to speak to someone, but we've really rallied around each other.
In Louisiana, more than 9,600 people have died from COVID-19 so far. But with vaccinations underway, there's now a chance to reflect.
I would have to say that if anything positive came out of the last 12 months, it is the humanity and the camaraderie that I have seen from the people that I'm blessed to work with every day.
I just want to live life to the fullest. Right now, just tell anyone you know that you love them and you care for them or you appreciate them. And for yourself, just appreciate yourself and just live it to the fullest.
Some advice for life from those who care for the departed. Tan Trung, Eyewitness News.